Welcome to my channel. My name is Cambria Rose, and today I'm going to be talking about my current financial standing. So, what this entails and why I'm doing this is I want to be able to look back a year from now, 2 years from now, and see, okay, this is where I was, this is how I've grown, and this is where I still need to grow. And so, I want it to be super transparent. I'm not going to do any editing. I'm just going to go for it, and I'm going to show you real bank account things going on because this is real life. And so we're going to start by doing debt. I'm going to go over debt. I'm going to talk about my income. I would classify myself as low income. In my mind and what I see on other YouTubers' channels. And then I'm going to go over what is in my budget. So, what am I paying for and expenses? And then what are my goals for the first quarter? Because I want it to break it down into quarters so that it's more achievable for me and I can have something to kind of fight for instead of being like a whole year, like let's do quarters type thing. So, okay, so first off, debt wise, where I'm looking at right now is basically I used to have a ton of credit card debt. I've been fighting with that for about 5-6 years, and I recently paid it off completely, which is a huge blessing. I'm so thankful for that and so proud of that as well. So cool to go into 2023 with that. And then I also paid off my car that I also had for about 3 years. So that's gone. I do though owe dad, my dad, $2,771.24 due to him paying off a previous credit card bill. So credit is not my thing. I am not doing credit cards anymore. I'm going to learn how to use my cash and my money that I earn. And so that's where I'm at. That's what I have for debt still. And then what I'm doing right now is I currently work for a coffee shop in the local area. And so I earn about $14.50 there an hour plus tips, which can be a huge blessing. And then I also work for H&R Block as a customer service rep. And so I earn $16.50 there. And so that's where I'm at. And then I also sell on the side. I use a hair care system or line called Monet, and I sell through that, and that's a huge blessing. And that mainly, I normally keep that on the side, so I don't include that in my budget. And I use it for my hair care. I also will use it for my fun money every once in a while, and so I just let that accumulate it, and I'm not touching it. So that's where I'm at. And so as far as budgeting goes, and when I say my income, going back to that, I work about 40 to 60 hours a week. And so that's what we're kind of looking at. And I recently just had this change in life. And so I'm learning how to budget with that and how to have my mindset and like where it's going. So pretty much my goal is off of my coffee shop job to just pay my bills through that and then use H&R to save. So we're going to see how that goes. And we're going to see if your girl can chill on her spending and really become disciplined and like intentional with her money, because I do believe I can do it, and then I'm challenging myself for this year. So let's go over expenses and what I have on the month to month. So for rent and utilities and all the jazz, I pay about $650 to $700 a month, depending on where that's at. So 500 that is rent, and then I add on 150 for the extra things. Sometimes it's not that much, sometimes it is, so I just budget for that just in case. So we're looking, let's just say 650 for now. And then I pay for our family's Spotify plan, so that's $16 a month. I use Canva because your girl's crafty, and I just like having access to all of Canva's things, so that's $16 a month. And then I pay my dad, first off, it's I pay him for my car insurance, and then there's going to be I've actually doubled insured right now, so $100 coming off of this, but I'll continue to pay it so that I can be paying down on rent, or not on rent, but on debt. But I pay him $227 a month. And then I budget in for a 2-week pay period. I budget in $100 gas and $100 groceries. I don't normally spend that much, but that's what we're looking at. Making my monthly total for bills $1,109. That's where I'm at. So, looking at that, let's take a look at what is currently in my bank account and my goals for each of these bank accounts. So, what I'm doing, like I said, it is kind of the middle of the pay period for me. And so I have already paid all my bills from my Dutch Bros or my bank account. I work for Dutch Rose. That's the coffee shop I work at. From that account, I've already paid my bills and everything. So what we're looking at is I have what I call my landing pad, which is where my my Dutch paycheck goes into, and so it goes into there. And so pretty much all my bills will come out of this thing, and I like to, hopefully if I budget right, I can have about $100 to $200 of a buffer in there. So I am, when it comes to like that second week, so I have one more week before I'm paid again from Dutch, and I currently have $128 and $93 coming out of there. I don't expect any other bills coming out this month, so we're good. As far as car, I'm trying. What my goal is to get it up to $500, and at the moment I have $103.69 in there, and then I have a buffer account, and this is all in one bank account, but I have a buffer account that I want to get up to $100, but at the moment I got zero. And then I have, what I want to do is I want to be able to build up so that I have 3 months of rent and bills total, like basically all in a bank account or all in a account. And I currently have $192 in that account. But with that, my goal, basically, if I want to do 3 months, is going to be $3,327 is what I'm going to try and build up to. So I have that. That's all. Like, I try to do all that on my coffee shop job. And then I use another bank. So for me, it really helps to have 2 different banks so that I can have 2 separate brains in a way. And technically I have 3 different banks because I like to have a lot of banks to keep my brains separate. Okay. So one of the things, the biggest things that takes so much stress off me and my heart and my life is having an emergency fund. And if you know Dave Ramsey, I love him. And if you listen to any budget person on YouTube, they're going to say get an emergency fund. And so an emergency fund starts at $1,000. So I literally today hit my $1,000 emergency fund, and I'm so proud. I'm so thankful, and I feel huge relief. My goal is that I will also be able to have that 3 months set aside. And so that's also kind of an emergency fund in a way. So in another bank account, I have an emergency fund of $1,000 straight across the board. And then I have an extra savings that I'm going to start to use for very specific things. Like, all right, I'm going to save up to get a new car. Okay, I'm going to save up to invest. Okay, I'm going to do this. And so in the moment, I have $60.39 in that account. It is to be determined what exactly I'm going to do with that, but I'm going to try and be very purposeful with where I put that money and what I do, because one of the things about a budget and saving and all that is that it actually gives you freedom to spend, and that's cool. And so that's my goal, and that's what that money is for, is my freedom to spend. So we're going to have fun with it. Then one thing that is super important for me in my life is that I have the freedom to travel. I love traveling, and I have a lot of people I love who live out of state. And so I set aside $50 to $100 per paycheck. So whether I'm paid from H&R or if I'm paid from Dutch Rose, I will set aside money to go towards that. And so at the moment, I have 2 trips planned coming up. One is to see my brother in February, very excited, and then one is to go to Nashville in May, very excited for that. So for Nashville, my goal is to get $500 set aside, and I have currently $71.72 set aside for that. And so I'm almost to my goal. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just continue putting money towards that goal for like the future as well, for any travel that comes up. And then for my trip to go see my brother, my goal is to have $300 set aside, and I currently have $224 set aside for that. And so that's all a bunch of jumbled spaces, but that's where I'm at financially. And so just basically all these money pockets that I'm setting aside for specific purposes that I can I'm a very goal-oriented person when I have a vision. But most of the time those visions don't always align. They're just kind of like, and I just kind of go, So, all right, quarterly goals. This is where we're at. So by May, I don't even know if that's a quarter, but that's my goal, is by May. And so for my 3 month goal of having 3 months of rent and bills set aside, I want to have $1,500 set aside. So I literally have little check marks here, and each box is $100. So I'm gonna just check it off. For my car, of the 500 goal, I have to have $500 set aside for car maintenance and all that jazz. I want to have $300 set aside. So we're going to try to do that. And then debt for my dad. One of the things that I want to make sure, and I'm so thankful that I have a dad who lets me basically no interest pay him back. My goal, though, with him is I know he wants me to like build up my savings just in case things happen. We never know what's going to happen. And so my goal with that is to stack my savings in that, and then to get him down to 2,500. And so that would be, what is that? It's really only $271.24 down. But still, that would be a huge blessing just to get it there and just keep it rolling, to get that going. And so those are my goals. The rest of it, I will continue to smallly, like very littly, like contribute. I know that was horrible English, but this is what we're going with. And this is what we're doing. So I'm learning at the moment how to budget with the different paychecks. And so I'm going to try and do a video talking about that and how my system works and what makes sense from my brain. I also talked about one of the things I do still on a barista budget is it's literally called barista budget, is I do the 100 envelope challenge, and that helps me save for these things too. And so that's where I just take my cash tips that I get and I put them in envelopes, and I have a video on it on my channel as well. I don't have that many videos, so you'll be able to find it super easily. And so yeah, that is where I'm at, and we will check back in February, which is not too long from now. So all right, thank you guys, have a good day.